Howdy everybody, this is Bang once again for another Java lesson, and in this session we are going to create a simple GUI application using Swing. We have two objectives here. First is to design the interface similar to what is shown here on our screen. Second is to make our application responsive or functional, such that if we add 10 plus 20 will yield us 30, or if we divide 40 by 3, it will return us with the correct result. And so let's start. We start by creating a new class, and we are giving a name to this class as GUICalc. We start by importing the javax.swing package. This package contains all the classes that we need in order to create a GUI application using Swing. You can also write the specific class that you need, provided that you know the classes that you will use. So for example, JFrame or JButton. The next thing that we will be doing is to create a container object, and we are using a JFrame for us to create that object. We are declaring the container object as global so that it will be accessible anywhere else inside the class. There can be many ways for us to write the interface of our GUI application. In our case, we are going to write our code within the constructor. We move on by instantiating our container object. As usual, we make use of the new keyword for us to instantiate or to create our container object. In order to achieve the looks that we desire, we are going to set the properties of the frame or the window. And in order to set the properties, we are going to invoke its setter methods. So for example, for the title, we invoke the set title. And of course, every time we invoke a setter method, it will be requiring us an argument, or some may not, but most of setter will require us an argument or a parameter. So for example, for title, what parameter do we need to supply for us to set the title? Of course, it will ask us a string as the value for the title. The size, for example, is also requiring us the dimension, which is the height and the width. For now, we are not using a layout, so we place here null. The property location is requiring us the x and y coordinate. And the visible property is either set to true or false. And for the window or the frame to be visible on screen, we have to set it to true. And that's it. These are the necessary properties we need for now for our frame or container object. At this point, we can now go and check our output. So we're going to instantiate this class so that the constructor will get executed. So we're going to say GUICalc, need an object name, let's name it my GUICalc, then the new keyword, and then the name of the class. Alright, so let's try this. So there you go, this is now the frame that we have created given the following property settings. So now that we have created the container, we can now put other components in it. So our next objective is to create two labels and then put it inside the container. So inside the constructor, we are going to instantiate the operand 1 label. So using the new keyword again. There. So after creating the label object, we can now set the properties. So again, we set the necessary properties, and this property that we are setting is the opacity or the opaque. We are setting the opaque to true, so that the background color that we are going to apply will be visible on screen. And then the next property that we are going to set is the set bounds or the property bounds. The bounds will position the label somewhere in our container. And the arguments are, or the first two values is the coordinates, and the second two values is the width and height of the label. The next property that we are going to set is the alignment of the text within the label, and we are using the property set horizontal alignment, and we are supplying the argument swing constants dot center. And that's it for the property settings. We are going to try. Look, nothing is happening yet. Why? Because we have to write the command that will add this label object to the container, and that is by using or by invoking the add method of the object frame. So there you go, as you can see. Now I think there's something wrong with the height of the property set bounds, so we're going to do some modification. There you go, there you have it. Alright, and so it would be easy now for us to create the second operand, because we'll simply have to copy this code and then modify the variable name, the object name, to operand 2. So we will just make use of the find replace function. Replace. So again, the code is almost the same. So the last code here that we did was to add the operand 2 into the frame. And don't forget to modify the coordinates where the operand 2 will be placed on the J-frame. Let's try and test. There you go. Perfect. Alright, so that's how you add components, or that is how we add the two labels in our container object. Alright, so now that we are done with the two labels, we are now ready to put the other buttons, starting with the clear button, including the arithmetic operators, the numeric buttons, until the equal buttons. So let's go. So again, we start by declaring the buttons, starting from the add button, the subtract button, until we declare all the arithmetic operators that we need in our interface. There we go. Of course, we declare all the buttons, or the numeric buttons, starting from 1, followed by 2, blah blah blah. There you go. We go inside the constructor and then instantiate all the buttons that we have just declared, starting with the clear button. So we copy the name of the clear button, that is JD clear, then instantiate the button. We are going to set the caption as C. Then we are now ready to set the properties. For buttons, we are going to set only one property, that is the bounce property. So our concern for the buttons is to simply position them somewhere inside our container, and so we only need to set the bounce property. So again, the first two parameters are the coordinates, and then the second two parameters are the height and width. So that's it. We are now ready to add to our frame object the clear button. And there you go. So let's try. There you go, guys. It's clear. Alright. So it would be easy for us now, because all we have to do is follow or copy the code and then just modify the arguments of the setBounce method. I'll copy paste all this throughout the creation of all the buttons until equal button. So just follow along. You will notice in this test that some of the buttons are not in place or some of the buttons are not visible. And that issue is caused by some of our code, particularly the setting of the visibility of the frame. So what we have to do is to move this code at the end of the constructor. There you go. Right. And finally, the last button, the equal button. So we instantiate the equal button, then modify the coordinates and the width and height, and then add it to our object frame or to our container object. So there you go. Let's try it. Uh-oh. I think there's something wrong with our coordinate. So it should be there you go. So that's it, guys. Our interface is done. In the next part of this video, we are going to make our interface functional or responsive. I'll see you there. Thanks for watching.